Hello.
Woo!
I'm epicdudeguy, or Robbie. With me I have Toka.
That's
And we're
me.
going to be playing some Sense of Time Zipless. A fantastic run, in my opinion. And hopefully I can convince you of the same. I also have a couch of some Prince of Persia community members and friends. Toka's ready on the button.
Huh?
So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go.
So of course the timing starts 9 seconds in after the cuts.
Of course. Why am I not surprised? Go. Alright, so Sense of Time. It's been a while for me, but yeah, I really like this run. Out of the Prince of Persia trilogy, like the Sands trilogy, I probably like this run the most. Of course, I am a Zipless fan in general, and yeah, this game is the best.
Unbiased opinion, of course. Yes, yeah.
Except this trick is kind of hard. Come on. Oh,
Yeah, so we'll show off all the segmented threads, because that's what Robbie used to derust.
I'm actually getting some frame drops here. Yeah, so start of the run, we don't have the ability to rewind yet, so we're just gonna do optimized movement as you saw at the start already. It's very optimal. Can break the objects that are in our way by wall running, which is a small optimization that we've been doing forever.
Many men that day sought to win honor and glory on the battlefield, that their king might say to them,
And sometimes that also works.
Yeah, hopefully it works.
From the moment my sword tasted
And for movement,
I knew this would not be mine.
usually
I
just
would
running
be
at full speed is the fastest.
by being
But
first
if you're standing still, then you have to build up to get to the fastest movement speed. You can also do that by running down a slope or something.
Although what the game counts as a slope
Yeah.
is...
So this,
That, for
Ball,
example,
for
that,
example.
that was a slope. Now we have max running speed.
but if the distance you're traveling is really short, then rolling might be faster. Or if you're going through water or going up slopes. Like this.
Yeah, here for example, because there's a lot of stuff in the way, like it's not plain ground all the way. Running is optimal. But really, these are small optimizations, which they of course add up over the run quite significantly, but in and of itself, it's not a big deal in each instance.
Oh, nice.
Not even doing the skip here. What?
Oh, right, that's good. I kind of forgot about that one. We'll save that for later. But there's a glitch in this game called first-person glitch. And with it we can instantly turn around on ledges and then use that to
Shall I continue my story
walk in the air.
next time we're interrupted?
Very useful. And we'll see that later.
It brings all sorts of tomfoolery with it, this glitch, which, as Robert just said, we'll see in a lot of instances and a lot of different uses of it. Right there on the ledge where Robbie was so happy about the diagonal jump he got. There's also a skip which does use it, but it's somewhat difficult and doesn't save as much time, so it's not used in RTA by most runners.
Yeah, coming up on the first big skip, we can do dagger early, as it's called. So normally you would end up here after getting the dagger, but we can abuse the area to go there early. Just have to get a precise jump. There we go. So now we get up here. And there's all these traps that are not active because we're not supposed to be here yet. And we can go to the dagger right there, but we only have to hit the trigger, so we can go back right now. Because how would you be able to get the dagger without getting the dagger? That doesn't make sense, but the game will give us the dagger anyway because we went to the right triggers.
Yeah, maybe for a bit of speed lore real quick. This trick is one of the oldest, which is still in use. Was already used 10 plus years ago by Maikuyama and others. And this this variant with not like actually retrieving the dagger, like going to the cutscene, but only hitting the trigger, that was found maybe like 5, 6, 7 years earlier by a Peruvian runner called Nafu, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. On the PS2, I think.
Yes. Which saved, I think, 30 seconds-ish. It's a pretty big thing. Very smart.
So here we're gonna go for the next skip. There's a fight here that I'm doing, and I'm going to be ending it early. So I'm gonna get this guy in kind of the downed state. And then with my dagger I can keep attacking him and manipulating his position.
Yeah, if Robbie were to attack with the sword, he would just down strike him and he lies on the floor and dies. But we care about his hitbox, like not being flat, but more of a like cube-ish thing, whatever.
Might not be far enough.
Could work.
There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, get him stuck to where the prince would land after a full wall run. And then we do the full wall run games like, well, where do I put the prince now?
You can literally not be here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And luckily for us, that's behind the door. Another cool thing you can do in this game is stand on ledges you're not supposed to stand on. And using that, we can wall run across to skip some platforming. And we're now on our way to catch the lady in the red dress. Oh, I went way too far. Called Farah. Or is she even real?
Next up is some metaphysical commentary on reality.
Am I even real?
Actually, I'm trying to think this, the enemy clipping in RTA runs, this is the only instance, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a segment
Well,
strat later on, but
Vizier,
oh yeah, no, that's true.
that's kind of enemy clipping as well.
Yeah, but until the end of the run, this is the only instance of it we'll see. And there are a lot of glitches in this one in particular, probably due to there being like 10,000 of them, and like so many of them have one or at most two uses. And the exception to that being like rerun tricks, which we'll get into eventually, and first-person glitches as well, because these are like the big ones, which are very versatile as well. Stop spoiling commentators. Some weird guy says in chat, don't know who that is. Jack VRH1. Okay. Seems like he has played the game, so sorry for that.
Yeah, he's pretty good at the game, I think.
Speaking of people in chat, I would have a donation message for them to read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sphere donates $3 saying,
God.
shout out to the pop crew trolls in chat.
Thank you, Sphere. Thank you very much for the donation.
Yeah, to me, this game was kind of the game that was my introduction to the Prince of Persia series as speedruns. Because I saw Joe run Sense of Time with zipping at the time. It's like, oh, that's a cool game. I'll check that out. And after that, I never stopped. Kind of. So we met up with Farah, and the scarabs were too scary for her. So she's gonna go a different way than us, for some reason. And we're gonna go the fast way. So
What did you just land on?
can, can do a torpedo, as we call it, attack onto the door frame. So a torpedo attack lets you survive higher falls. Like dropping like this will kill you. But yeah, the torpedo from there onto the door frame works like just fine, that you can survive the drop and then continue from there. But then we have to die on the pole because we skipped some triggers.
Yeah, so we hit the next checkpoint.
That's my sound.
We die because else this area right here would not be loaded. And luckily deaths are very quick in this game, so that's how we resolve that problem.
So, about first-person glitches. You can use it with a box. So you can, what I'm doing is holding onto the box, then going into first person, and then slowly pull back on the control stick. And that turns around to Prince instantly, and if you're holding onto a box, it gives the box kind of a momentum, or yeah, it tries to turn the box with you around instantly, and that creates distance with the Prince and the box. And we can also use it to clip, so I'm bringing the box along with me so I can skip this puzzle. Could technically also skip this cutscene, but that's a lot more difficult to do.
You see those 4 axles? You'll need to pick them up one by one until you've got all 4.
So what do you think of this guard?
Bring them up to the top together.
I hate him.
Thank you.
If only he were French.
Make sure you pick them up in the right order.
So now I can just go straight up.
That's it. One crane.
The guard is encouraging me that I'm doing it correctly. So I'll keep going.
Lowers it.
So there's the door I want to go through, and we can actually go all the way through from here. Just have to set up in the right spot, and then go straight through. So you're supposed to activate the traps for the palace. Oh God, okay. With that puzzle. But we didn't do it, and they're still active. So.
We got scammed, basically. Yeah, so about that last puzzle really quick. So there is a way, or there was already a way without first-person glitch to get to the like final platform, to the final door, but there was no way to clip through. So for the longest time, that was a useless thing, and only when first-person glitch came up was it.
Thanks.
Oops. Was that puzzle skippable not only in any percent but also in Zipless?
Yeah, what I just did there at the door was to skip up here quickly. So what you can do with ledges, I'll be doing it shortly again, is you go to the edge of the ledge with the Prince already half over the ledge, and then when you turn around instantly, you're past the barrier that the ledges have at the edge of them. So then you can just walk freely. Because the game just gives you the walking on the ledge state, and then you're limited by the edges. So it doesn't let you go over the edge, but if you're already over the edge...
Yeah, exactly. Here we like standing
can
half
just
off
walk.
it, then we turn, we're past the point where the game says, no, the ledge ends here, you can't continue walking, and then we continue walking.
And it also gives you the property of no clip. So you can just walk through walls.
Which I believe is only in this game. I think the other 2 games...
Yeah, the
the
other 2
walls
games you
actually
still
stop
have
you.
collision.
Good thing they fixed that.
And you can also do the first-person glitch. Nice. To activate levers instantly without having to pull them all the way back. which for some doors also gives it, like, gives you 3 times as much time to go through them. So I was quite slow on that one, and okay, that's fine. I still have plenty of time to go through. So there's Farah again. She was afraid of scarabs, but not afraid to take on a whole army of enemies. Good for her. Including my father. Well, the prince's father.
Oh, thanks for clarifying.
So far I've only done this combo where I jump over, sword slash, and then retrieve the sand from enemies. But the blue enemies don't let you do that because they have a different weapon. They will block me jumping over them. So I'll be using torpedoes or power attacks. So the torpedoes are the ones I do from the wall. And the power attacks, are like this. Oh, I need to attack one. Right, that doesn't. Okay. I try to block it, but okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so really these blue enemies are the
Jesus Christ.
are the second hardest enemy in the sense that they block the combo. As Robbie said, we just jump over them, do the simple retrieve, but literally anything else works. You can jump over them if you jump from the wall. So if you don't do a torpedo but a wall jump over them, that works. Power attack, torpedo, using slow-mo, so they don't block you anymore. It's really, it should be so easy.
Yeah, the enemies are easy, but the dad is destroying me. You can sometimes do some manipulation with Farah, where Farah will just constantly be shooting
I soon discovered that
dad,
collected enough
and then he doesn't bother you.
the dagger gained the
It's-
power to stop time.
Can be very
Not
nice.
for me, but for the enemy I struck.
Should be the last enemy.
And only now the boss here that becomes vulnerable. For example, through using slow-mo, so he doesn't block your dagger, which he usually would. But you can also do certain instances of power attacks, or you can just attack him 10 times,
Yeah.
whatever.
He takes a lot more attacks because he's a boss or something.
That was not.
But using the fast retrieve with the slow-mo, we can kill him quickly.
What are you doing? Stop!
Have you practiced that voice line?
Professional voice actor.
Done.
So
I'll
here
start the story from here next time.
we get the save, and then there's a cutscene. But we don't want to watch the cutscene. So I'm just gonna load the save.
I mean, why did you close the game? You could have just gone back to the main menu, right? Just
No.
hit escape? Oh, no. Oh. Does the game not give you the ability to do anything during these cutscenes? That's a shame.
Is that gonna work?
Uh,
Oh, interesting. Can I rewind, please?
Fear not, there's another sand cloud in the corner right there.
Never seen that happen.
I'll cover you.
Please don't. You're liable to hit me.
Yeah, so there's a fight here which you usually have to do, so Farah doesn't die, basically, because you left her with all these enemies, and she's on a fixed timer, like she's not actually getting hit, but every few seconds, 1/6 of her health is depleting. But luckily, because we're speedrunners, we're fast enough to make it to the next checkpoint, which is being triggered after Robbie fully rotated the lever. So now we have the checkpoint. Farah dies, game overs, and then we are here, and everything's fine. So really, most problems solve themselves without your interference. I think that's a good life motto to take away from this.
Yeah, so after the dad fight in the cutscene that we skipped, the prince and Farah decide to travel together. So at that point, the game becomes like a
For 10 seconds.
the game becomes a big escort mission, kind of. And as speedrunners, we want to leave Farah behind most of the time. The game doesn't always allow you to do that, though, but we'll have some tricks to get around that. But for this area, we will open the door for her. So nice. Oh, easy. Because then, in turn, Farah can open the door for us.
Yes, so really the thought is, what's in it for me? Like, of course I help you, but what do I get back from that, right? So it's a good way to go about life, I think.
I think it's a fair trade.
We'll need to find a way down to the bottom.
And here's a nice co-op puzzle that you could do solo, but I'm gonna do it in the co-op way. So
Pardon?
Stay there.
you could do a
Ban you from the Discord real quick.
rewind trick that was mentioned before. And the rewind trick is you do an action and then you rewind to the same point twice, and then it will usually replicate that action as if it started where you rewinded twice. So for a wall run, for example, if you rewind trick at the very end, then you can kind of get another wall run. And using that, you can cross great distances, as you can imagine. But it's kind of hard, and I only have 2 cents, so
Are you all right? I heard
I could wall run here with the rewind trick without going all the way around.
Yeah, but then of course the puzzle would be kind of broken, everything's in the wrong state,
another lever in that.
and then we would have to do some more tricks to actually get to the bottom safely.
Yeah.
I've got it.
Also, if the puzzle is in a weird state and you grab like a lever later on, then Farah still tries to go for her lever, and if the platforms aren't aligned, she will just fall to her death. Which, wait, does that happen? Does that happen now? I think so, actually. Sure. I needed to jump around an enemy trigger there, so they don't spawn.
And
Now
here
I
we're
need to
doing exactly that, yeah. So Robbie tries to jump onto that fence, which is very thin, but it works. Although it will cause some considerable back pain for the prince, but that's okay.
and back pain for Farah, maybe.
Also that, yeah.
She
Slight
okay?
amount.
But we got the checkpoint, so all good. Just using the box to get it over here quicker.
Usually there would be a second box, like in the second pressure plate, to get back up, but I mean you can just jump there. It's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
So
And here will be an instance where we want to leave Farah behind. Oh, missed it. So I'm going to do some specific movement to get Farah stuck on the corridor. And that way we can progress a bit quicker without her lagging us behind. Let's see if it worked. Interesting camera. So yeah, she's not there, and that's good. So now I can skip an upcoming fight if I'm fast enough. So I have to get a wall run here onto the tree and then over the door.
that looks good.
Nice. So now, because I was fast enough, the enemies don't trigger at all, and I can just not bother with them. You can see them in the background there. Where's it? Okay. Normally we need Farah to open this door, but we have boxes, so we're good.
The original companion cube.
So straight through, very nice. Failed the jump, not nice.
Yeah, this box clip here in particular is even more precise because not only do you have to get through the door on like uneven terrain, like it's kind of tilted or slanted, but behind the door there is also a cutscene, 20-second cutscene, which introduces you to this area and how amazing and cool it is. And so you want to clip through, but not move away from the door, but kind of parallel to it to skip that cutscene. And especially if you're going fast, that can be quite challenging, especially if you just learn the category or kind of starting to get better at it.
Yeah, it helps that I've done it like 1,000 times.
I guess.
Some cool movement here. Oh, okay.
Not just
Very
tapping
cool.
wall run. What did you do?
I did.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a bit too far on the edge. So normally you would have to get Farah up here as well. But I don't know if you could hear it, but she's like, hey, because you're leaving her behind. But here that's okay. As long as she doesn't like is in an area that's not loaded anymore, it's usually fine. And later on that kind of will be the case, but we'll have another way to deal with that. Is there still a scarab?
Yeah, right
No.
now all that we care about is that there's a door in our way, but we just found a box, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah, so again, Farah would have to open the door for you, but we have our other version of Farah, the box. Here we want to do something else, so when I rewind, come on. So I hold the box, let go, and then rewind back to the moment where I was holding onto the box. If I then do the first person glitch, I will still be holding onto it afterwards, and then I can create more distance between the prince and the box, and using that I can create a setup so I can actually get it over that ledge, because that's quite difficult to do usually.
In that area you could go even more crazy and not kill the scarabs, but that's a very big segmented strat.
Yeah. Then you have to move the box without getting hit, which is impossible. And there's Farah. Not sure how she got here, but there she is.
Strong woman. She can do it.
Independent woman.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take my chances with this bird.
Weak.
You can sometimes just, well, if you're brave, you can just go ahead, and if you're fast enough, the bird won't catch up with you, but I'm not so sure about my abilities, as you can see right here. Okay.
Dude, the bird is coming for you. Watch out.
No. He's gonna get me, no.
Ah, bye.
Coming on to up to the baths here, and this will be an area where we skip a lot, and we are gonna do a setup to leave Farah behind. So that later on we can do a section without Farah. And the first setup for that will be ledge storage. Is that what we call it? Or storage? I forgot what we call it. But I'm gonna be climbing over a fence, but having an enemy interrupt me. And then it kind of stores that location. And then whenever I climb onto another thing, it will pull me back to this exact location.
Or try to anyway.
Yeah, it will try to. And because of the collision of the area I will be using it in, I can use it to skip a corridor. The enemies are standing where I want to be standing. Oh no, not the lady. I want to be doing a damage boost up a ledge, a pole here. Oh shit, it's too late.
So in principle, this is not necessary in order to get to the second half of this area. It's just the fastest way in Zipless. But even without the use of any glitches, you can skip this area, or the biggest portion of it anyway. And the backup strat for this is, as Robbie's trying right now, but he's getting obliterated, put it nicely.
Yeah, the ladies are very strong. Oh my god.
Yeah, they have this 4-way combo. So, should this work, then this would be the first instance of rewind trick in this run that we're seeing, I believe. See, this looks okay. He said jinxing everything. No, it's fine.
Yeah, so I can use it there to extend the wall run a little bit higher so I can reach that platform. I didn't want to do it, but I messed up the damage boost.
Yeah. With the damage boost, you would land on one of these swing poles, which we just used to swing across.
Dude, my inputs. So now we want to get Farah into a specific position so that she get into a twisted neck state, as we call it.
Which is quite descriptive, actually.
Which is kind of like a glitched state for Farah, and
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Unlucky. Yeah, the game can crash there because of the Farah manipulation if you don't do it properly, or if you're unlucky. And because we don't really get any saves, I'll have to load a different save, which would be this, I guess. Yeah. But then I cannot do the route where we leave Farah behind because she's already here. It's unfortunate. Oops.
Yes, if Robbie would have used would have loaded the save one prior to that, would have spawned to Cliffs and Waterfalls, which is the starting point of this whole round.
Yeah.
Because like the ledge starts and all the manipulation starts when you enter the bath, really. But oh well, we live in the worst timeline after all.
Yeah, then I would have to do a lot of things again. So now we get a sword upgrade, and this sword lets you break walls.
Any wall?
The walls that are specifically made to be broken,
Ah, okay.
like this one. So So now I guess I need Farah to follow me. Yeah.
Quick explanation on why Robbie stood in the corner there for so long. The game's auto target system, above everything else, prefers the prince targeting enemies, which in this combat kind of situation makes sense. However, we don't want to fight, we just want to move on. And in that corner, luckily, there is a de-aggro spot, so the enemies are not aggroed, are not targeting the prince, they're just leaving. So they are far enough away for the prince to not auto-target them, but the prince is able to target whatever he pleases. For example, the wall, we have to break there. And before, I believe it was actually Robbie who found that de-aggro spot, and before that, getting out of baths was like a big RNG energy.
Yeah, you would basically have to bank on an enemy going into the wall, and then you could hit the enemy and the wall at the same time. That was not fun. So this is where I would consume the ledge storage. Because normally you need Farah here. Well, I will need Farah here right now. And in the other route, I could climb onto the box, and then the game will pull me all the way to the other side. Because the place where I started the ledge storage is kind of in that direction, I suppose.
Right, and this is the only thing we would need Farah for here, is to get across this gap, really. Everything else, before and after that, we could do ourselves. But this is specifically where we would need the ledge storage. But Farah once again ruined everything.
Yeah, something we haven't really talked about is in this game, the fights. In the fights, the enemies spawn in waves. So this will be like a wave of 4 enemies, and then when you kill all of them, the next wave spawns. Oh, interesting. But if I don't kill all of them and leave one alive but downed, I can just move on without them bothering me.
Yeah, that's the use of one of the uses of the half moons next to the sand tanks in the UI. Is that not only can you use it to slow motion time, but also you can use it to, for example, freeze enemies so they're stuck in time or in place for a few seconds, so they don't bother you. And again, don't make you auto-target them. You can hit the walls or whatever you want.
Just as my father's men do back home in Sraf, at ease because they think themselves safe within the castle walls, with no enemy to fight.
Help me.
That's not good. So now that Farah's here, I have to keep her alive. Well, I'm not gonna do anything in particular.
Yeah, I was about to say you're not too serious about that, right? Like, she's like, help me. You're like, yeah, cool, we'll have to leave.
So the only thing I can do is not look at her.
Make her suffer as little as possible.
And that helps the enemies ignore her sometimes.
Yeah, and as soon as the door pushes us out here, she's fine.
On to the next trick. So this drawbridge is not lowered right now, but that's okay because the collision is still there. Not that collision.
I mean, that collision is also still there.
Yeah, this collision. Just have to jump around it, and then here there is actually collision preventing me to progressing. So I'll have to do a rewind trick jump to go across.
This looks very good.
That's good. There you go. So that's a very nice example of rewind tricks to understand how they work.
So after rewinding twice, the game tries to re-execute the last action, which in this case was the jump. So the jump just gets extended. It's a bit, or actually a lot more subtle than that, but really that's the main idea of it.
Yeah.
just executing it at times can be a bit more difficult than that. But that should be of no concern to us.
So because we left Farah behind, we'll have to get her back by dying. And now, the greatest challenge of this game. I failed. Shit.
If only you had a slow-mo tank to make
Yeah,
this
well,
easier.
I wasted it on the enemy. I didn't mean
Shame.
to do that. So I want to be on the edge and then flip around before the saw blades gets back.
This is another instance of the first-person glitch on the ledge to create an invisible ledge so you can walk wherever you want. Just some added time pressure, maybe.
I had it, but I didn't walk away fast enough.
We'll get there eventually, no worries.
Maybe while you try your luck on this, I can read a donation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kadarev donated $25. Shoutouts to the entire POP crew. Learned about them the first time at this very event 6 years ago.
Come on.
And now they're all along my best friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you very much, Kadarev, for the donation.
I can't get this, dude.
If you now could help us with this trick, that would be even better.
Yeah, because the motion that you have to do is pretty precise.
Yeah, and also you can't do it too fast. Like you have to be like very slight on the analog stick for the prince to do the flip on the ledge. But naturally here you want to do it fast because there's an obstacle coming at you. So maybe while Robbie tries that, a quick comment on the slow-mo in this game. So this is a mechanic they also used in the they also used in the successors in Warrior Within and T2T, or the Two Thrones, pardon. But there the slow motion has a different effect because there it slows down. They're very, very nice. It slows down everything but the prince, and here it also slows down the prince. So here the slow-mo slows down everything. Still having it here makes things easier because you just have more time to do this like very slight movement on the analog stick to get off the ledge.
It still slows down the game, and you like it doesn't slow down you IRL. That's the benefit. So here I'm walking under a huge death trigger. Okay. Shoot. No? Okay.
And position looked good,
Yeah.
so I don't know why he's... Maybe the jump offset him somehow, or...
Let's go a bit further.
Yeah.
And there's just enough collision to go on top of the bridge.
And on top of this pillar, and then we're up.
Made it. Okay, normally you would do like some puzzles with Farah, and then you go slowly up the tower and then across the bridge. Takes a lot of time. A couple cutscenes as well. Some birds. All of it. Yes.
Done. I'll start the story from here next time.
So, because we skipped things again, I'll have to take a death and get Farah back.
That's it.
Also to load stuff. What?
So there are many ways of skipping the tower. This is one of the earlier ones, where you land on this collision, do this parry attack, and in theory grab onto the ledge, which is right in front of you.
I'm
You
doing
can-
it correctly.
You can also land on these like very close to these spikes you briefly saw down there, and to proceed.
Okay.
You can also land down there, or like not down there, but a bit higher, and use the first-person glitch to walk through the tower. So there are many ways, some more difficult, but also more saving more time than others.
You have enough health?
Yeah, sure, I
Think
think so.
so.
Yeah.
I'm up here. Down
Yeah.
below. There's
Plenty.
a great open balcony. Come on, I'll show you. Here I am.
Stay there. I'll come down to you.
Should I? I'll just drink here before I forget. Oops.
So next is another very old skip, which is called "Just Jump Over the Trigger, Bro."
I know where I
Yeah,
am.
there's actually quite some cutscene triggers in this game that are just really small, because they expect you to just walk into it, and that lets us jump over them.
Do you think you can find your
Which,
way
I mean, for
there?
first-time players works incredibly well.
Fast from
It's
here.
just once
Yeah.
you know the game, you know how to
I'll meet you
use your movement options to just avoid these triggers. There have been many instances of this in this run already. We just never mentioned it.
Yeah,
For example, in the palace defense system, use the box to walk over it, or in the ancient ruins, you can like wall run, jump over it.
Sand creature I run into.
This is just the one of the more obvious uses here.
I used to be a bat that turned back when I was alive.
And also, Robbie used the first-person glitch there on a fence to slightly change the angle at which he's jumping off, which allows us to skip the whole puzzle. Again, that's not necessary, it's just faster than the no major glitches skip here
The other side of the city. I had a lovely wash.
by like 2 seconds.
Fragrant.
oh really?
Too bad you weren't there.
More like 5, but yeah.
But it's cooler.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, I'm trying so hard not to bully you for not buffering every single input.
I like mashing.
Just the Pokemon runner.
So yeah, some cool caves movement here. Oh,
It's another big aspect of this whole run, which, especially in Zipless, gets overlooked sometimes, is that the movement is incredibly versatile on the one hand and incredibly satisfying on the other end, if everything goes well. And this part of the caves is a great example of that. If everything goes smoothly as it almost did, aside from the very last jump there, it feels like you're zooming through the game.
there, I did it. I don't want to commit war crimes against France, so I have to break the pot. And here there's more ledges that we can abuse to just skip everything.
Ledges, you say? I start glowing red, like,
Hello, why are they so fast?
so you're another very visible instance of how to set up this thing. Like,
Yeah,
there's a ledge above the prince right now, which we can use to drop down to the lower ledge, but only stand half on it, which, as we know already, is necessary in order to skip the barrier at the end of the ledge, which tells you no, you cannot go past here after using the first-person glitch. So we're just walking around, hitting some triggers here and there, and yeah, you're just enjoying the scenery, really. It's,
Yeah, the only downside is that this wave moving is pretty slow. But it's still faster.
yeah, so it really makes sense for large areas such as this one, where you have to do a lot of loops and walking, jumping around, or for something like the upcoming area where the exit is pretty close to the beginning. which you'll see what we mean by that. Also, small movement optimization, jumping between these platforms is faster than wall running because the edge is like so curved. Usually wall running is one of the faster methods, but just jumping is the more direct path. So triangle inequality, really. The usual, you know?
Yes. Luckily, we have great mathematicians on in the Prince of Persia community, so they can solve these problems for us.
Literally 2 out of 4 professional mathematicians.
So here is another ledge,
A ledge?
allegedly. Drop onto it halfway, and then we are free.
Yeah, if you've played this game casually, you're well aware that this area is a big loop-de-loop. Like you go back there, do a little stuff there, then you get back here, and only then you go up. But you can just walk to the final rope. Which luckily is a very long rope. But instead of climbing, we'll do something else. Bye.
Yeah, at the top of this rope there's a teleport trigger. And the teleport is so strong that it will teleport the prince no matter what, even if he's dead. So now we are dead. We have no health.
The definition of dead, usually, yeah.
And we can use that to not have enemies attack us. But we'll also not gain any checkpoints. And what else? Well, later on we leave Farah behind, and then we can also not rewind anymore. So we strip ourselves of all of everything that we can do normally, just to go fast. So if I take a hit, I will still die. Luckily, these spike traps do not activate.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions of these traps. Are also the enemies that after you've died, they de-aggro, which is, if you played the game, you would be well aware of, because after you get killed by enemies, they just walk around. They don't continue attacking, which from a game mechanic perspective makes sense.
Yeah.
But for us, we can just abuse that. And the same for the traps. If you die in one of these spike traps, game over, the prince lies there, and the traps just retract. They don't keep coming up, continuously piercing your body.
Such a shame. So we already skipped some enemies here. You could do that without being dead already, but the one I'm going to next is more of a challenge, because we have to clip through a door, and that's really hard to do with enemies bothering you.
Yeah, so strictly speaking, the zombie glitch here is not necessary, just not only saves time, but makes things a lot easier for the run.
And also, the zombie glitch was found by Maikuyama, I think, and it was never used. It didn't have a use for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Yet it was properly documented.
Yeah.
He made, I think, a 12-minute video about it. And he concluded with, yeah, it's kind of useless.
Yeah. And then it became super useful, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I used the statue there to clip through the door. You can skip the entire harem fight, which is one of the longer fights. Farah is still there, but she'll be okay, as long as we don't rewind. So for some reason, when we rewind after this point, the game rechecks, or just checks where Farah is, and then the game realizes, oh, Farah's really far behind, you should game over. And then we get stuck in a game over loop. So no more rewinding for a while.
Let me know when you have time for a donation.
In
Observatory cutscene? Entry cutscene?
yeah,
Yeah, so in like 30-ish seconds, we'll tell you when that is.
Wait, 30 seconds? What? Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, so here we're trying to clip through the door, but behind the door is not only cutscene trigger that shows how the door closes. The cutscene only ends once the door is closed, but it is already closed. That check never hits in your soft lock. So you have to clip not right behind the door, but you even have to gain a bit of distance between you and the door. And now you can go for a donation.
We have a $50 donation by 7missing7. Who could that be? Hello everyone. I'm really sad to not be with you for this weekend. The event looks wonderful as usual. Thank you, Robbie, for breaking the pot. Congrats to everyone, and I can't wait to see you all soon, hopefully. Also, I hope that Caddy made you play some Koi Koi. It's a good game. Thank you for the generous donation. The POP community is really bankrolling us right now.
Thanks, Eraser. We played some Mahjong, so...
So this area is in this run is one of the more stressful ones, because as Robbie said, we don't have any abilities right now. Like any mistakes is fatal to the run. We would either game over loop and soft lock or get sent back to the underground well area, which in run attempts would just be a reset.
Don't you need to open the gate?
Oh, indeed, we need to open the gate, Farah. Thank you very much. What's behind it?
The gate's
Oh.
open.
Oh. How will I solve that?
Not good. So as was clearly visible, we should maybe load the next area, which luckily we know where the trigger is. It's like here. Now we have to go back.
So yeah, it's a really cool section where you can abuse the scenery to go to platforms you're not supposed to be at. And using that we can properly load the area, as you can see. And now we can proceed.
Wait, let's see where this corridor
And
goes.
soon I will be
All right.
alive again.
But
Normally you would have Farah with you here, and she opens the door for you. Now, after I die in a second, Farah will be there, but because I already watched the cutscene, she's not gonna open the door for us. Just gonna take this really safe. So heal. Now the checkpoint will work, so I've already got it. Just need to die, and then Farah will be here, and I have the checkpoint. But now I have to do the door opening myself. Well, I'm not gonna actually open the door. I'm just gonna take the path Farah usually takes.
path of least resistance, in a way.
Looks good.
This looks all right.
Just need to
Probably
get a
the third
rewind
one.
trick.
4?
Oh,
Ah,
I
this-
messed up the jump.
This would have worked. Maybe you very briefly saw the prince doing the animation of, like, what he usually does when he jumps, like, to a wall, but then doesn't do anything. It drops down. So the game registered that, or, like, this rewind trick worked in the sense that the prince, the animation of the prince hitting the wall was stored, as you saw there. It dropped straight down, and then you have to react very fast in order to do the jump. There, go.
Okay.
Now this is not optimal because Robbie doesn't have any rewinds.
Yeah, so because I take Farah's path, I miss the loading triggers that the prince has. So I'll just have to go down here and then not do the rest of the skip, because I can't rewind back.
I'll
Yeah.
meet you on the other side of that gate.
Careful.
You be careful.
But that's okay. It's you can be like stuck on that rewind trick forever, technically. So
Yeah, this like, what was it, second try? That's really good.
Yeah.
For a marathon, even more.
So I'm just happy to be past there. Like that section is really
I can't open the gate.
like the gauntlet of this run, especially in a marathon.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes off. If you do any mistake, it's over.
Yeah.
Now, in this area, maybe this is a good time to talk about it. There is another segmented strat which uses the enemy clipping we've already used in the first fight, where there are for enemies here, and there's a door which you have to get past. And you can do the same thing as in the first fight. It's just a lot more difficult, a lot more precise, because other than the enemies being different, you're also like the doors also right after some stairs, and this geometry very much alters the tricks or how precise it needs to be, very roughly speaking.
Yeah, I would say that this enemy type is just really impossible to manage. That's what makes it really difficult.
Also, that landscape cam there, my biggest contribution to the game.
Yes. I'll just go the other way. I haven't really practiced.
It also lets you get percent cloud,
True.
which makes things even more
Oh
simple.
yeah, I need that.
What better way to tame her insolence? It's not so bad for a woman to have a little spirit.
Do some cool torpedoing. And then in the route I was attempting that I didn't make because of the rewind, you have to go this route in order to have Farah follow you again. And we didn't figure that out for a long time, but then we realized, oh, you just need to go, like there's a trigger in that corridor that saves everything. So it's like, oh, the solution is actually really easy. There she is. So that's the bridge to the Tower of Dawn. So
Oh, is it the bridge to the Tower of Dawn?
that's actually where we've been going the whole time. So it looks like it's pretty close. Nothing that can go wrong at this point.
Shame.
Always go for it, never get it. Uh-oh. Be careful on the stairs, Farah.
So considerate. Like, falling to his death, he's like,
Yeah.
look out. Maybe this point is a nice, like warrants a nice small side note on the zip glitch without going into too much detail what it is. I'm just saying it's OP. You can use it in this area to skip this whole cutscene. So you can use zips to travel very large distances, very broadly speaking. So you can go from the area above to this area down here, loading everything but not hitting the checkpoint right here. The cutscene right here, which is like I think 45 seconds or something. And yeah, so that's one of the things Zipless can't do, and also one of the really one of the main ideas of Zipless or any speedrun category: skip as many cutscenes as possible.
Yeah, the zipping glitch is so OP that we had to create this category, and it still has a lot of glitches. And yeah, the zipping category doesn't use any of those, because why would you?
Yeah, you can just go basically anywhere you want, and the only trigger is the only limit is hitting trigger, so the game loads properly. Oh, I think you fell down.
That's early.
3?
Maybe I can.
Ah.
Okay. Unlucky. So yeah, what I'm trying to do there is a very weird rewind trick. Movable platforms in this game already have a unique property to them, and with rewind tricks, yeah, it tries to pull me back to where the plate is, and since it's going in the wall, it will pull the also in the wall. If I can do it correctly. And then I can land on top of the door, 'cause that is not lethal height.
Yeah. Actually, I always forget is the thing that's being rewound trick the prince grabbing onto the thing, like the game tries for the prince to grab onto the thing once it's in the wall, or is it actually the movement towards the wall?
No, it's the combination of it being a movable platform. Why am I not getting it?
Well, Reza will tell you now. He has this 100%
It's,
consistent setup.
It's the same, like zipping from a movable platform also pulls you back.
Oh right, yeah, that's true.
It's that property that's in
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. If you were to start a zip from one of these platforms, also from, for example, the elevator, which we'll be on later, the game will always reset you back to this platform. It's actually, forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, because you can rewind normally on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But yeah, we do the climb up, and then like the prince falling down, grabbing the ledge to create a longer animation, so you have more
Oh, this looks good.
time to get a rewind trick. Like so,
There we go.
finally. Land on the door, and then we're through. And that skips doing a fight,
It was the first time
or,
I'd
well,
seen
there's other
such
ways to skip it, I guess,
bicycle
but
frame, close enough to touch.
this is
Where were the men whose trade it had been
the
to
fastest way
embark
if you get it first try.
to extract the answer their king sought? Indeed there was one. In the end, they had met the same fate as their victims, guards and prisoners.
Didn't do a thing? Okay.
By the sands of time.
A nice damage boost there to skip activating some buttons.
Saving the tremendous amount of like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah, it doesn't save that much, but it's really cool.
It is, yeah.
And it's consistent as well, because the bats behave the same way every time.
Exactly. As long as you do the same movement every time, the outcome will be the same. And also this damage boost here, since we didn't get to see it in the bath, very nicely showcases this, as I would argue, very intuitive behaviors. Like you jump, you get damage, and just boost, it gets amplified. Even more so if you use the slow motion power. So it works without, it's just like a, I don't know, a fifth or 10th of the height you'd get with slow-mo.
Yeah, and what I did there was a jumping animation to get the damage boost, but there's also a damage boost using a climb up animation, and that goes way, way higher. So high even that you could maybe skip an elevator. Wow, that was unlucky. I even did the fast get up, but still died.
I mean, you could just grab the sand cloud up there to go safe. How about that?
Excuse me? No, that's way slower.
Yeah,
I just die.
yeah. Yeah, luckily there's a death plane down that well, which makes for a very fast death and very fast reset point. Well, not reset, but restart the area, retry point. There's also something nice, or do you want to say something?
No.
There's also something nice about getting out of the torture chamber. If you don't kill the bats, then, well, they'll of course follow you when you climb up the ladder. Then after the camera changes, the bats will just disappear. So they're following you, you jump onto that swing pole, camera changes, they're gone. It's kind of funny. But also, like, slightly risky. So. Given Robbie needed the sense for the rewind trick, there was no point in doing that.
That's not funny.
What are you doing?
Oh, well. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a trick here, and if you don't do a game over, then Farah can be in combat state still, and then do things you will not expect. So just to be safe, you hit her a couple times.
Shame.
Missed. Yeah, I'm going to be attempting the elevator skip here. It's just quite difficult, but very cool.
Which, again, if you've played the game, you'll know this fight and or the fight that would be here, and you know that this is a very long elevator ride, or so it appears.
Oh shit,
Winged it.
she blocked me.
Or so it appears, because during the fight, the platform is not moving, but the outside walls are. So it's like you're staying in place, but the area appears to be moving around you. So the distance to the top is not as much as you would. Of course, it's like this very, very big height you have to traverse, but it's less than it appears during like this the 1 or 2 minute fight, depending on what strats you do. Which is why this is possible in the first place.
Oh my god. It's also deceivingly difficult to hit Farah, because like the game isn't made for the prince to hit Farah. You just have to actually aim your character towards Farah.
Yeah.
And you also have to do the movement I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason Robbie is doing that is to manipulate Farah's position. Because else the arrow will not be able to hit the prince. And this... Ah, shame.
Lucky.
So there you saw the boost, but sadly the collision of the whatever thing that is, pole, stopped the prince from fully going up. But that's the idea. You manipulate Farah's position, and after you hit her 3 times, usually she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And now I'll shoot you in the face. Which, an eye for an eye, okay, but forgiveness is also a nice concept. You'll think about it. So after manipulating her position and like stopping her from shooting the arrow, she still wants to shoot it, of course. And then there's so little distance between her and us at the ledge that the arrow hits us, and we can use it to boost the climb up animation, as Robbie explained earlier. Shame. We'll get it eventually. This is a notoriously difficult trick. So difficult even that it originally was declared impossible by the godfather of the community, Asko. And then he very quickly realized, oh no, wait, it is possible. And then in collaboration with Robbie, it became reality. It is probably the biggest Zipless discovery we ever made.
Yeah, Asko made a video trying to prove that it was impossible. And he figured that it was possible.
Yes.
Yeah, so the setup, sometimes if Farah's like too far forwards or back, she doesn't do the 360 snipe, and I kind of need that. I'm sure there's, well, I'm not sure, but there might be other ways to do the setup, but it's so precise to even get the trick that...
Yeah.
Wait,
Yes,
I have a lot of time, so I kind of want to keep trying, because it's a really cool skip.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and actually so as Robbie said, the position being very precise amounts to hitting Farah at a very specific point in time. Like you see her turning around, that changes her position, and if you interrupt her too early, she's further away from the prince and the wall and does different things. So getting her to a consistent position amounts to very precise sword timing and movement around her and all of that.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it so difficult to execute. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how many hours Robbie had put into this trick. Might very well be 100 or something. Like figuring it out, practicing. There are also other versions of it in the segmented run, for example, where you don't hit the lever up there, but you bounce directly to the elevator, which is even more difficult. So in a way, Robbie is the grand master of this trick. Or so I declare.
Yeah, Yaka's actually really good at it as well,
Yeah, that's true.
for some reason.
But Yaka's
Even
really
though-
good at everything in this
Yeah,
game,
that's
so
true.
it doesn't count. He's even very good at voice acting. Master of all trades. That looked good. Turn around, slow-mo, do the thing.
Was that too early?
Slightly butchered the timing, probably.
No, no, no.
We'll get there. Maybe, is there a donation or anything to say? Gotta pitch Save the Children.
I'm always ready to pitch Save the Children.
Please do.
Save the Children is active in 120 countries all over the world, helping children. In 2019 alone, they reached 144 million children. And every little donation helps. Well, we got some bigger donations recently. We actually got we got a $50 donation. What can $50 do? It can supply a home water filter. So children spend their days in school not spending them walking several miles fetching water. Or $50 can keep 10 out-of-school children from going hungry during a pandemic. $50 can deliver early education essentials where needed, like books, games, software, and supplies, intended to make up for lost learning time. So, anyone watching wants to contribute to our fundraiser for Save the Children, please do.
It's stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great cause, and we are pretty close to $1,000, which I'm certain we'll hit today. So, if you can, please get those donations in. Okay, good first hit. Decent second hit.
No. Like the reason Farah needs to be exactly next to me is the arrow is affected by the elevator moving up. So the arrow is moving down in a sense. And that's amplified by the slow-mo. So if Farah's not exactly next to you, the arrow will just never hit you if you have slow-mo active.
Yeah, it like goes into the ground. Oh, this looks good. Yes.
There we go.
Sadly, it's not over yet.
Oop, wait, what? Why is that so early?
Farah can still die, in theory. Like it has happened a handful of times, but we should be good, he said, jinxing everything.
Hourglass is nearby. I can feel it. I can't
Yeah, in my
explain
opinion, this is the most impressive trick. Even if it was really easy, it just looks incredibly cool.
Yeah. It's just insane how much of a damage boost you can do. I have plenty of health, it seems.
Fun little thing you can do here, if you start the rewind right before the cutscene, like the movie cutscene coming up, you can rewind the movie cutscene. And you can just have it played 2 times. It's weird.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
Oh. We always memed about it. Frame perfect rewind. So, who has ice cream?
Well, there would be some at main station. Let's run there.
Even on Sunday?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, that took quite a while to get, but maybe, hopefully it was worth it. Now I'll just have to make sure I finish with an estimate.
Yeah, looking at chat, chat also popped off at your elevator.
Ah, nice.
Thank you, Yaka.
How many try was that? 30?
Less than uncountably many.
Yeah, it actually saves so much time that you can try like 5 times and still save time.
Yeah. Of course, for top level runners, it's first try or reset.
Yeah.
But, especially if you first get into it and like just learn the trick and want to implement it in your run, which you only should do at a very high level because of its difficulty. You can do many tries and still save time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you would probably spend as much time learning that trick as the rest of the run.
I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
kind of accurate, actually. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for a marathon to de-rust it to a level where you can get it at such a consistent level. I thought I was pretty decent at it during practice, but it was a bit difficult now.
Yeah, if anything, the rewind trick in the corridor after the observatory gave you more trouble from what I saw.
Yeah.
but,
True.
that was second try. So
Yeah.
the usual marathon thing.
You take some, you lose some.
You were asking how many attempts you took? Kadarev counted 16 attempts. For every time Farah had to die during the elevator skip, he donated $1, so that's $16 from Kadarev. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Well, guess I can try some more. So yeah, the cutscene or the cinematic that we skipped was like, we get to the hourglass and then the vizier is there and he messes everything up. Farah and the prince get trapped together and then we are set free by this magical pathway.
But really, we're tripping. Like we ate some shrooms
Or
or
is it a
whatever.
dream?
Yeah, as you can see, these stairs are infinite. So, oh, the estimate is only 130. That's bad. Interestingly, the cutscene we just watched, where you just saw sand falling and voices at minus 200 decibels. That cutscene is not even skippable as of now. Not even skippable using zips. So that's the last that's the last big barrier. There's left for time save. Everything else, if you have the power of all glitches available to you, can be skipped in one way or another. Or most big things anyway. But the trigger situation of that cutscene is very weird. No point in getting into it.
Where are you?
But right now we're doing this
I
little
don't see you.
going from door to door.
Which is random every time.
All right, this is getting ridiculous.
Is that so?
Just getting lucky.
Just guessing the password.
Yeah, there's an audio cue for the correct door if you didn't know.
Which
Like
you probably
everyone.
didn't. Take out the sword. Yep.
And now we're back in the tomb.
Which we fell into. This is where the early cutscene played.
War sie wirklich?
Die magische Höhle.
And Farah steals the dagger. So the final gauntlet of the game is a section where you cannot rewind anymore.
Which, I mean, we have some experience with, so it should be fine. As Zipless runners. Was Prince walking so funny? What's up with that? Please elaborate.
Right. So before entering the cutscene, I pulled out my swords, and then the prince keeps that state. So I still have my swords out, even though I have no sword.
So the
And
way
then
the way the game handles for taking away your sword and story and everything, is that the weapons become invisible and you cannot draw your sword and dagger anymore, but you still have them in theory. So if they're drawn already, although you cannot use them directly, you can use them after a wall jump, as Robbie just did. And well, now we have the weapons again. Because we are, after that puzzle, we're supposed to have a weapon, a different one, but whatever. The game's like, bro, just take.
Yeah. Why doesn't
I'm
it give
done
us
with
that weapon? That's actually kind of interesting.
I have no.
Because so right now it gives us. Is this the second sword or the third sword?
Second.
Okay, so it gives us the sword we already had.
Yeah.
But later on, it will give us the sword that we skipped. Oh, that's not good.
No. Yeah, that will be the failsafe for the.
Oh, right. That happens when you jump off a corner.
For the final fight, I
Oops.
wanted to say, and then Robbie did a little thing.
Kind of forgot. Oh, now I have to do the other skip.
Which I'm sure you have practiced.
I did
quite a lot.
practice that one.
Okay, good. So you can also use the first-person glitch here. So you can take out your sword on fences for whatever reason.
I have to do a full one.
Do a first-person glitch to change the angle you're at, and then you can just jump past the wall. And actually, you don't even need glitches there. Funnily enough, is skip of this sword puzzle without using glitches. You would use one of the mirrors to kind of walk on this fence and just roll across, basically. And jump.
I don't remember how we're supposed to do that section. What the optimal way is. But here we have a checkpoint again, so that's cool. There's Farah with the third sword, which she stole from us, even though we didn't have it. Funny thing about the third sword is that it's supposed to be a sword upgrade, but it's more of a downgrade because the enemies will just block more. And it does more damage to walls, which is not that useful. Well, I guess it does more damage to enemies as well, but...
If you attack the normal way, which
Yeah.
we never do. Okay, another first person glitch to change the angle. And jump off the fence. This way. There's a nice difference between console and PC here. Because on console, or at least on GameCube, the strat was to war onto the fence, which on PC is impossible, so we need other ways to do that skip. In Zipless is the first person glitch, change your angle on the fence. In NMG, it's a very precise wall jump there. So it's possible. It's just on GameCube, it's just a lot easier. The one singular advantage GameCube has over PC.
Trying to break free. This ledge is kind of weird.
Yeah, this looks like you're at an angle, so you're doing it too fast, maybe.
No, come on. Not far enough.
Did you usually do it from the bottom? Like jumping from the... I mean, I haven't played this game in forever. So but that's what I would have done instinctively.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, this would.
Please.
Yeah, the objective here is to get into this tower, which you'd usually do by going all the way around. You can't just walk in, really. At the expense of a nice camera angle. And nice.
Nice. Sometimes he doesn't grab there.
So there's another use of first-person glitch coming up right here, which I don't think we've seen before. It's on a swing pole.
Yeah, this is a very unique property because there's a climbable ledge next to it. And the prince will start climbing it. And then I can jump up and then get to the ledge. And from here I can manipulate the angle as well to go there right away. It's just really cool in this game that like it's designed in a certain way with the directions that you can jump off of on ledges, and then with the first person glitch you can manipulate all of them and then create your own path, which is really fun.
Right. Also, I just saw Yaka's message in chat. Yeah, I have thoughts as well. That's a feeling I had. But the trick worked, so whatever.
What did he say?
That the first person gets into the tower, you do it from the lower ledge. Like you jump up
Oh,
on
I
the
see.
or
Yeah.
one up on the edge or whatever.
Wait, what am I doing? I thought I was already on this one.
I mean, bro, it's a big jump. You have to take quite the distance.
I sure know when to stop climbing. Nice.
Cool. So this is the final fight. Final as in there's nothing else after that.
No fighting, at least. Oh yeah, the sword that we skipped, but that the game gave us anyway, lets you kill enemies instantly without having to retrieve their sand.
If they don't block, that is, of course.
Yes. I mean, they never block, right?
Calling Eraser right now.
Also, Erase, like most people are like sad when this happens, but Eraser is like, yes.
Farah is a carpet now. Which it literally is. If you go down there, it's a 2D texture of her.
So we get the dagger back at the cost of Farah dying.
You win some, you lose some.
So we would be able to get sands again, but we don't have to. Because we can just torpedo them. Don't go in the hole.
Ah,
What is he
classic,
doing?
classic rubble.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Sure, I'll take
It's
that.
a nice safety sand there.
So the benefit of the torpedo here is that they cannot block it. What? I jumped it. Because normal attacks, they will block a lot.
Yeah, but again, everything else, like torpedoes or wall jumps, as you saw there, they always hit. Asterisk, almost always. With probability 1.
Wait, what am I doing? Yeah, it's kind of difficult to get good at this fight. Like to do a really fast fight, it's not easy. Oh god. Oh, lucky he didn't hit me.
Yeah, so as you're seeing, the enemies are doing big damage. So if our base HP right now is 100, and each enemy hit is doing 30, if I recall correctly. So you can take 3 before you die. Which Robbie did. He took 3 and he was like, peace.
Peace.
Done. I'll start the story from here.
So that was the last fight, but it's still going. What possible more epic conclusion could this game have?
Yeah. Like even the movie cutscene after this, like, I will undo all my mistakes, like, into the hourglass, everything rewinds. But of course we have to defeat the main villain. If defeat means not fighting, which is, I mean, a good modern life.
Nice
The only way to
moonwalk.
win is to not play the game, really.
So we mentioned at the start where we did enemy clipping. This is kind of an enemy clip as well. So we have the vizier and we have the clone. And I want to create distance between the vizier, who's currently against the wall, and the wall. And then I can use that distance
He will betray you.
to create
All will happen as I have
clipping
foretold.
situation. And it can be kind of annoying sometimes. Like I need to get into the hitbox first.
What
Like
I
so.
told you is
That's
no
good.
story.
And then I need to find the spot that pushes the Vizier
happened.
and
Yeah.
not teleport me.
Yeah, as Robbie said, he has to now
I mean,
create some distance between the
That.
the hitbox of the Vizier clone, or rather the shield around it, and the wall, so he can use it to clip through the wall. But just as in the first fight, the enemy
There
had
we
to
go.
be had to be at a very particular like distance from the wall, so the clip puts us behind, and like there's not too much space, but also not too little, so the game doesn't decide to push us the other way or sideways.
That angle. Looks good. Oh, okay.
I think he's too
Would
far
have
from the
worked,
wall.
in my opinion. There
No,
we
he's
go.
not. Never mind.
So now he's attacking. That's good. I need one attack specifically.
Not that one. Not that one.
Come on. That one. And then, yeah, so the trigger for the credits is just up there. All we have to do is reach it, which is kind of difficult, but yeah, it's really cool that we can do it. Yeah, that was Sense of Time Zipless. I went a bit longer than I estimated, but I hope you still enjoyed. I had a good time. So thank you for watching, and thanks to Toka for commentating.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to my couch for hanging out.
For donating during the run.
Yeah.
Again.
And yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon.